What's going on, guys? So today I want to talk about an interesting topic that one of my followers asked me on or DM me about, which was basically saying, hey man, I was listening to a podcast by Andrew Schulz, the Flagrant 2 podcast on Spotify, and they talk about the deep state hoax, where they're talking about essentially that can Spotify suppress an artist, like what Tory Lanez claims happened to him on the latest albums, where they don't want to put him on certain major Spotify playlists. But if they can suppress an artist, can they also blow up an artist? If they're working with a label that happen to have a stake in Spotify, like Universal, and I think the major 3 record labels do have a equity stake in Spotify, can they also basically favor those particular artists and put them on extra Spotify playlists, or can they make the algorithm work in their favor more to recommend them more and more and more and all of that? And the simple answer is yes, any company can do that. Now, Spotify is a public company, so they operate sort of under more stringent standards that a completely privately owned company would operate. But yeah, man, like any company can favor an artist and blow them up potentially. Any company can sort of stifle their streaming or suppress an artist. Tidal had a similar scandal where they were blowing up Kanye's and Beyonce's music and getting them paid for extra streaming to make it look like they went, double platinum or platinum within a certain amount of time. But the bigger topic that I want to talk about is that, okay, let's say Spotify is suppressing an artist or blowing up. Okay, if it's suppressing artists, go to another platform. Go to Apple Music. Go to Amazon Music. Go out on the street, hand out cards with your QR codes on it. Like, I feel that sometimes a lot of artists sort of play the victim card. Like, they'll find a way of why they can't make it. They're blaming this company is going to suppress them, or this is a deep state hoax, or it's the Illuminati, whatever the hell that means, is playing against you, selling your soul. At the end of the day, you have so many different platforms. You got cryptocurrency or platforms that are going to be direct to consumer coming out by companies that have cryptocurrencies out there. So you can have the blockchain connecting the user directly with the musician. I mean, it's already here. It's just not as popular right now. But at the end of the day, if Spotify is suppressing artists and it comes out, okay, go to Apple Music. Also notice that how come none of the marketers online or the companies that sort of push artists, nobody really talks about how to blow up on Apple Music or Amazon Music, which is, by the way, now a third of the listenership in the US. They caught up very quickly this year, right? So Spotify's a third, Apple Music is a third, Amazon Music is a third. But what I meant to say again is that how come nobody talks about how to get your streams up on Apple Music? You know why? Because it's not easy to fake. Notice that these third-party Spotify playlists, not the curated Spotify playlists, but the third-party Spotify playlists, there's a lot of bullshit with them. Super low-quality listeners. I was just reading one of our clients' accounts the other day. They hired another company to do their Spotify playlisting. I'm looking at like 5 Spotify playlists, and it's saying that it had, like, just to give an example, 100 listeners, but 500 streams. So it was 5 times more amount of streams than the listeners. And all of the playlists that they paid for had 5x difference, meaning certain amount of listeners and 5 times more the streams. And the artists may think like, yo, I'm so, my music is so good because those listeners are listening to my music 5 times. The way I look at it, because I've seen hundreds of third-party playlists, I'm like, man, this is a blatant, like, fakeness right here, because they have bots streaming one particular song 5. Like, how are all these 5 playlists with different like lists of songs all 5 times more than the listeners? But all I wanted to say again is that stop looking for excuses, stop looking for things that are going to suppress you, whatever. Just get out there. If you're relentless and you want to get out there, you'll get out there. You notice all the billionaires or very successful people in America and Western Europe and the Western culture, they defied a lot of different odds. They don't look for excuses. They don't play the victim card. They just went and kept going and reinvesting into their brand and kept going and kept going. So if Spotify, let's say, is suppressing plays, then go on Apple Music. But for that, in order to succeed on Apple Music or Amazon Music, you actually have to know how to market and not play the game with bullshit playlists. So I'm going to leave you at that. See you guys in the next video. Peace.